Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request from FreddyLit. Thank you so much for that. For those interested requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal to have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And for those who send them, thank you. I do appreciate it. And FreddyLit, when he sent in this request, I'm glad that I think I asked him in a stream, and when I first got the request, I thought, oh, the Taking TV show that was based on a Liam Neeson movie? Because I know there is one of that. And he's like, no. There's a 2002. There's a mini series that Steven Spielberg produced. Toby Hooper actually directed the first episode. It's like, what is it? 10, 20 parts, or 10 of them. Each one's like an hour and 20 minutes. It's a long ass miniseries. And he wanted me to check out the first two. Thank God it was only the first two, because if it was the whole thing, I'd be like, I don't know, FreddyLit, I'm going to have to take a rain check on this. Because I remember this coming out. I remember the hype. But at the same time, you never hear a damn person mention this. Now, hey, there may be a lot of people that like this thing. And if you do, cool. I didn't. I hated this. This was so fucking boring. And I'm sitting there going, man, I would just rather watch a random episode of The X-Files, or Fire in the Sky, or a number of other stuff dealing with UFOs and abductions and etc. Because it just felt so fucking tedious and bloated. And aside from Dakota Fanning, you don't see her. I think she's later on, but you hear her voice because she'll be an important character later. And a very young Anton Yelchin, which you see more in episode 2. Rest in peace to him. Of course, he was Chekhov in the new Star Trek films, and he was in the remake of Fright Night. And I don't like those films, but I thought he was a good actor, and he passed away way too young, way too soon. And there's a few other people I recognize. Michael Moriarty from The Stuff to The Winged Serpent. He's here. Pretty much the gist of the plot is it's multiple different families is kind of looking into. There's one where in 1944 this guy was a pilot. Him and the plane was shot down with him and his crew in it. And then there were UFOs. It cuts to him arriving home. He's with his wife. They got a kid. And long story short, he keeps having nightmares of being abducted. And he finds out that the rest of his crew have passed away. They have a crew of 9 men and 8 are dead. And no one knows why. And he is befuddled and confused as to what's going on. He keeps having nightmares. So eventually he goes out to try to find it. And amongst these 2 episodes, he becomes a bit of a hobo. He's on a train. And he gets abducted at one point, brought back. And he's confused as to why this keeps happening. And then this hobo goes, well, maybe they want to see what makes you tick. Maybe if your other friends were dead, maybe they're wondering why you're not. At one point, the guy meets his son. The son wants to join him. And then the son, which I think when he was a kid he got abducted. And now, as an adult, he got abducted as well. And by the end of the second episode, he's been brought back. And the dad kind of watches the window, but he knows he can't get close because he's pretty much been told to get the fuck out by the other people. Then you have this one guy whose name is Owen, who... the Roswell crash. This woman found the crash, looked at it, took something, And this guy Owen rises the ranks, and he becomes much more of our villain in the movie. His morals get diluted. He kills the woman that found the part. He gets married to this girl, but it seems like the reason he got married to this girl is that she's the daughter of Michael Moriarty. And then Owen kind of blackmails him, going, yeah, you're going to make me into a major, and you don't have me more as part of this project, or I'm going to spill the beans. Dad. And then you have this woman who is a waitress who's got a couple kids, and her marriage is pretty much in the shits and all that. If she was married, I mean, I guess she was married, but like the guy just kept leaving, whatever. Or I thought it was, I'm trying to remember. Maybe it was just guy she banged. I don't know. Either way, something happens and she finds this random dude in a shed. We come to find out that's an alien pretending to be a human. They fall for each other, do the horizontal fandango, put his alien dick in her vag. He leaves, like all men. Dropped the bitch off the next block, I guess. Found out she was pregnant, said, fuck this, I'm going. I ain't no baby daddy. That ain't my baby. Leaves and she's pregnant, and then she gives birth to Anton Yelchin, who, much like the alien, can affect people's minds and make them see stuff and affect them. That would go from like 1944 to 1958. And I'll go back and forth between like Anton Yelchin dealing with these bullies, or Owen, and yet they have this UFO from Roswell, and they have these two ladies who are supposed to be psychic, and they're supposed to be testing on because they want to fly the UFO. They wait too long. They go in, the ladies are dead, and they don't really give a fuck. This is one bit in the first part where this one guy, I guess one of the aliens they thought was dead was alive, and this guy comes up and goes, I want to see my father. Then the next thing you know, the guy and the alien are dead, and they didn't really explain what happened. I guess the alien used his power for him to see his dad, but then they both died, I guess. Just, I don't know, was the alien not knowing what the fuck he was doing? Did they have sex? It was bad sex? I don't know. Maybe it did explain, but I was so fucking bored, I didn't... went over my head. In the second part, there's a bit where the Owen guy finds Anton Yelchin, and the Owen guy tries to get with the mother and tries to seduce her. And Anton shows him some stuff. Now, we don't see what Owen sees, but you can tell he's freaked out. And eventually the mom finds the Anton Yelchin and then pretty much fakes his death. That he died in a fire. To get him somewhere safe so that people aren't looking for him. I just didn't give a fuck what was going on. First and foremost, I didn't give a shit about the characters. Whether it be the pilot, whether it be Owen, the dirtbag major, whether it be the poor waitress, I just didn't give a shit about them. I just didn't find the characters that interesting, or funny, or intriguing. We kind of just thrust to the situation, and then it's very, very procedural. And very, very talky. And, like, there'd be a few people recognize. A guy who works for Owen. He's a guy who was Ted Levine's partner on Monk. Ted Levine's the cop, and his partner's like a younger guy. He's in this. I forget his name. I think the guy that is now with the pilot's wife, former wife, that guy, I know I've seen him on the X-Files. I can't remember what episode, though. But I know I've seen him on the X-Files. Because he looks so familiar. Maybe I'm wrong. But I know I've seen him in something. I can't remember what. The effects don't hold up the best. When they show the beginning of episode 1 was it's 1944, World War II, and the UFO and the planes, and they're going down. The CGI doesn't look the best. When they show the aliens, it's mostly CGI, and they don't look the best. So I just don't get the appeal of this. The beginning of episode 2, when the kid, which I think is the pilot's kid, the episode 2 starts with the mom reads the kid a book, which has stuff and squirrels, and it's a kid's book. So when the kid wakes up, he sees a giant fucking CGI squirrel, like from his story. But it's a giant CG squirrel. Instead of being scared like I would, I'd be freaked out. I'd be like, what the fuck is that? I mean, I love the Ninja Turtles, but if I turn, all of a sudden Raphael's right there, I'd be scared as shit, just wondering what the fuck's going on. Am I losing my mind? Even as a kid. But he just goes along with it, and apparently it's an alien that lured him to this tree, but it's really a UFO and abducted him. I'm kind of sitting there going, that's interesting that they would use that kind of tactic. Because you don't ever see the aliens use that kind of tactic before or since. So far in this. I mean, when they abduct... Well, hell, when they abduct the pilot and his son went separate times on the railroad and stuff, in the train, it's just there's the light, grabs him, that's it. No attempting done. I guess they only do that with kids. I don't know. I mean, Anton Yelchin being pretty much the son of Starman. It was cool to see him. Very, very young age. Dakota Fanning, like I said, you don't see her, but she narrates. Now, she narrates just a bunch of mumble jumble about the stars and destiny and whatever the fuck. It's like, whatever. I just didn't give a shit. I don't care about the story. I don't care about the characters. I did not give a fuck what was going on. Because either it just feels so routine, so been there, done that. There's really, I mean, the giant CG squirrel was the most unique thing in the fucking 2 parts I saw. And that's silly. But, I mean, it was the most unique. And I don't know, man. It just... The way it's like... Sometimes these guys, I couldn't tell who the fuck they were because they have the same military haircut. So I'm like, who's that person? Who's that lady? Because so many of them look the same. Or similar. And the fact we're like this, then we're at this, then we're at this, then we go back to this, then we're over there, and then over there. I guess Heather Donahue from Blair Witch Project is in this later on as the descendant of that guy, Owen. And then she becomes the villain. I guess. Spoilers, but I read what happened supposedly to some of these characters. So spoilers. Apparently, the pilot guy dies because they try to get something out of his brain, and then there's something happens, and there's an explosion. I think Anton Yelchin's character dies, and like either the 60s or the 80s. Because even though he's an alien-human hybrid, either like he uses power too much or something like that and just gives out like a battery. Forgive me if I'm wrong on this. This is what I gathered. Just didn't seem that damn exciting or thrilling of a story. So, yeah, I was not a fan of this. I thought it was boring as shit. And each episode is an hour and 20 fucking minutes long. Every episode is a fucking movie. Why does every episode have to be a fucking full-length movie? An hour and 26, hour and 28, hour and 24. Those are movie lengths. I was complaining with that with the later Stranger Things. They were doing that back in 2002. Just Spielberg's producers. Yeah, and no one remembers the fucking thing. I don't hear a single fucking person talk about Taken from 2002. Talk about Taken with Liam Neeson. I don't hear anyone talk about this. I can see why. Because they probably either forgot about it, or they were so goddamn bored like I did, they fell asleep, before finishing the fucking thing. So, I guess the big thing that come out of it is that Dakota Fanning, Spielberg saw her in this, and then got her in War in the Worlds. And then that got her some prominence, so then she did, Man on Fire, and I'm trying to remember when Man on Fire came out. When did Man on Fire come out? Was that before or after? That was 2004, so that would have been before. Well, I mean, she definitely got noticed from this, so this probably led to Man on Fire, and Spielberg used her in War of the Worlds. And then Dakota Fanning did a few things here and there for a bit. That awful hide-and-seek movie with Robert De Niro. And I don't mind Dakota Fanning's act. You only hear her voice so far in this. Because I think she's like the endgame alien-human hybrid, whatever, So I'll take that for you will. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. If you liked it, that's cool, but I was just so bored out of my mind with this. Over-bloated, over-long, uninteresting characters. I don't think, the way it looks and shot is bland. Yeah, just maybe want to rewatch X-Files episodes. So with that said, thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.